Friends, here we are talking about real-time login setup for Ansible controller node. See, we already configured the project by following these steps. So here, whenever if you want to work with your project, then you are going this location by logging into your Ansible controller node and switching to ansadmin user. See here, we are logging into Ansible controller node with root user, and then we are switching to ansadmin user because Ansible controller node is yours. But in real time, that is not the case. But anyway, still, if you want to continue in this way, I mean by opening your WSL, you are logging into root. From there, you are switching to your ansadmin user, and then you are navigating to your project. So from this location, you can work with your project. So this is fine. So you can continue with this. But let me show you how we will log in into Ansible controller node in real time. So for that, what you do is, once you join into your project, you will raise a request to access team to get the access to Ansible controller node and switch access to ansadmin user. So once you raise a request, what access team will do is, they will create your user ID with password, and then they will provide the switch access to ansadmin user for your user ID. Now assume that you raised a request for this requirement, but here you don't have access team. Let me do these two things by ourselves. So for that, let me log in into your Ansible controller node. So here first step is create your user ID with password. So you just create any user. Suppose in my case, I am creating user as, let's say, VR-Tech. So we created user. Let me provide some password for it. VR-Tech. So I am giving some password. Now we have done with first step. Then second step, provide the switch access to ansadmin user for your user ID. So here what I will do is, for this user I will give all access without any password, so that you can provide under sudo files. So here search for ansadmin user because already we have that. So here I'm going to create new entry for our user like this. After this, we have to enable password authentication. So for that, under sshd config file, you have to modify a parameter. Let me show you that. Simply search for password authentication. See here, we have password authentication with value as no. That means even though if you know username and password, you cannot connect with that. So that's why you just make it as yes. So remove no and update that as yes, save it. See, after this you have to restart SSHD service because just now we modified its configuration. So for that, simply use systemctl restart SSHD. That's it. Now we are ready with our user ID and password, and also we have access to switch to the ansadmin user from your user ID. So now let me use putty. So here, in my case, my Ansible controller node is localhost. But before logging into localhost, you just make sure that your Ansible controller node WSL is up and running. So for that, always first open your WSL. I mean, open your PowerShell and then run WSL. Once you enter into your WSL, then minimize it. Don't close it. You just minimize it. Now logging into your localhost and provide your username, VR-Tech in my case, and password for it. Now run sudo su-ansadmin. So now you are on ansadmin user on your Ansible controller node. So navigate to your project. So from here you can execute your Ansible things. So be clear, From here onwards, I will use putty to log in into my Ansible controller. But before using putty to log in into your Ansible controller, what I will do is I will open my PowerShell and then I will run WSL. So once it is entered into your Ansible controller, I will minimize and then only I will use putty to log in into my Ansible controller. And while logging into my Ansible controller using putty, I will use localhost. See, if you are getting confusion with this setup, you just open your PowerShell and enter into your WSL, nothing but your Ansible controller node. From here, you just switch to your ansadmin user. But if you want to feel like your real-time project setup, log in into your Ansible controller using putty. That's it. Okay, thank you.